You spend time with your family?
Sure I do.
Good. Because a man who doesn't spend time with his family can never be a real man.
Hey, so
that's exhausting.
Real quick, I have a question for you before we start.
We already started.
Go ahead.
Ask away.
As we're starting at the beginning, how do you know? How do you know you're getting older? Today, I went to go and pull my
Wait, is it a question or is it a story?
Because I have a response. I have an answer to that.
I have
too.
an answer for that too.
I'm just gonna say
think we all have
this is
answers
how
to
I
that.
think I'm getting old. I was pulling my pants and I ended up grabbing a fucking handful of pubic hair as I was pulling up my pants with my gun in it, and it fucking just ripped it out.
You got to get rid of that pubic hair.
That's never been
first
on
of
my
all.
list of reasons I knew
It's
I was
like
getting
insanely
older.
fucking long. Like
Wait,
it's like
hold on.
if
That's
if
how you
hair
know
growing
you're
out of
getting
my-
That's
older?
how you know you're getting older. First of
My
all,
pubic hair
older.
in my
straight
entire
instead of
life,
curly.
my pubic hair has only grown to a certain length. It has never. I've never
exactly. Yeah, no. That's
Same.
what I'm saying. Exactly. But now all of a sudden
Right.
it's like straight
No.
and long.
No.
like what?
I'm like, what
Listen,
the
You may need to
fuck?
see a
Hold on,
doctor.
hold on,
You may
hold
need to
on,
have
hold
that
on,
checked.
Hold on.
No.
I got this.
Okay. Marco, go ahead, Marco.
Okay,
First,
good.
I believe I am the eldest here, not by too much past Matt, but I believe I'm the eldest here.
Correct.
And with that being said, Chuck, I believe I have you by like I want to say at least like 20 years, right? Maybe
No.
a little bit less.
No,
10.
not 20. Yeah,
But,
10.
okay, listen, man. My pews have never looked like they had a relaxer on them. You know what I'm saying?
Dude.
Well,
Like,
look
I
at that
have
hair.
on my back now and like patches and like fucking hair out of my ears and
Well, there's
my nose
that.
hair is getting
I
really
think-
long. But then
No,
I think-
I have grown hair out of my ears, grown hair out of my nose.
Same.
I've grown hair in
Yep.
places
Same.
I wasn't supposed to get hair,
I agree.
Yeah.
but nothing has happened to my pubes other than they have remained my pubes.
Right. Yeah,
I don't even let them get long enough to notice they're getting long. I freaking
Manscaped.
Right.
twice a week I'm down there.
Right. If you want to look
Twice a
tall,
Yeah.
yeah,
I
if
like
you
to
wanna
be
look tall, you don't
shorn at
stand
all
next
times.
to
Wow, dude, you're militant with your,
Oh, yeah.
with your manscaping.
Yes,
you don't stand next to a 6-foot hedge when you want to look tall. You stand next to a 3-foot hedge.
that is correct.
Matt, would you say that we can call your member Gunny then? You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
Oh yeah. High and
Yeah.
tight, baby.
Not
High
high
and
and
tight.
tight. You know what I'm saying? Just rocking the
You know
high
how
and tight.
I
He probably
realized I was
shaves
getting
that
old.
little porn star landing strip above it.
Oh my God.
it doesn't do anything. What is the point?
I'm
What's the point of
picturing.
shaving?
Hold on a second. I'm picturing one so they didn't get it in their teeth. I'm picturing Chuck's hair like a '70s pimp. You know what I'm saying? Like long, relaxed.
That's how it felt, bro.
Like a purple fedora. You know,
Like flat iron?
Oh,
like flat
Oh.
iron. Yeah.
I had my gun.
Flat iron.
I had my gun in my waistband, and I used the restroom, and then I'm like, all right, I'm gonna straighten my underwear. And I went to go and pull my underwear, and without knowing it, I guess my fucking straight, fucking permed out, straightened hair was fucking just
That's a
hanging
you
over
problem,
my
dude.
underwear.
At
and I
10
fucking
years
pulled it
older
out,
than you,
dude.
the three of us have never. I'll tell you this.
It used to
One
be
of the
short
first
and
things I
curly, now
noticed
it's
is
like
when I didn't understand
long and
music.
straight.
wait. So
Wait,
stopped
sorry,
understanding music.
One time? You understanding music?
When I
Oh,
stopped
yeah,
understanding
yeah,
music.
Yeah.
That was
Yeah,
when I was like, wait. Everybody knows about this person? They've been
Oh.
around for a couple of years?
Yeah. Yep.
Oh,
And I missed
that.
I have Chuck's pubes music right here.
Okay. We can't hear nothing.
No.
Nope.
Soul Glow.
Okay.
Oh Jesus.
So the podcast is going to buy Marco a new microphone and a soundboard because he's the sound effects guy. You
Yes.
need a
I
soundboard that
love
just
the
ties.
sound
we need to
effects
get a
guy.
sound.
I know.
Yeah,
Like,
I
it's
would
like
fucking love to
it's like
chime
on
in.
our morning show. If this were it's
Yeah.
like a morning show on the radio, be like locker room in the morning, 102.89.
No, that was not what we wouldn't be on this 102.9. No, we would be on. Ladies and gentlemen, you listen to the podcast. You listen to the Locker Room Podcast on DIK,
109.
the dick,
Yeah.
The
all
dick.
up in you all the time.
Oh, anyway.
Oh.
So
You know how
welcome
I
to
knew
the
I
lock-
was,
Oh, go ahead. Yeah, go.
I want to do how I knew I was getting old.
Go ahead.
When you get upset because they rearrange the aisles in the fucking grocery store.
That's another one. That's a good one.
Yeah, that's
Okay.
a pain in the ass.
Matt, that's
Yeah.
been used since high school.
That's true.
And, I mean, you were born a little bit crusty and old. You were
Yes.
born saying, "Get off my lawn."
That is true.
He really was. Old Torino. You know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah,
for Torino status.
Gran Torino for real.
Gran Torino.
What about you, Marco?
Gran Torino status. Like you, when I realized it was more prevalent to me because I was constantly around youth, tattooing people who are just turning 18 and having like 17-and-a-half-year-olds hanging out with the 18-year-olds getting tattooed. So for me, it was like not understanding the slang that they were using. Like,
Mhm.
oh, not
yeah.
saying like, oh, what was that word? But it's just like, just catching it in passing conversation and be like, oh, fuck, I don't know that. I don't know that anymore. And then again, talking about music and me saying, oh yeah, man, back when I was younger, we used to listen to, oh shit, I just said back when we were younger, we used to listen to.
Yeah, and that's like somebody would be like, "Oh my God, have you heard of the band Pronoun Bonanza?" Like, what?
That's probably a
Real
band.
No cap. No
Just
cap.
making
No
shit
cap.
up.
Fucking should be.
No cap.
They're
Oh
like,
my God.
Have you heard of Pronoun Bonanza? They sing that song Sawdust Duck Fart. You know, it's like got 1 million plays on Spotify. And I'm like,
What was that shit that you said that one fucking episode? Lesbian bongo music.
Lesbian bongo music.
lesbian bongo music. Yeah.
Oh, by Pronoun
Well, welcome
Bonanza.
to the locker room. I'm Tom.
I'm Matthew.
My pubic hair is straight.
Well, and I'm Soul Glow, apparently.
So we're going to get into some shit tonight.
Oh, yeah. Knee fucking deep.
You know what?
Actually,
Normally
crotch
we don't
deep. Crotch deep.
Fucking
Yeah, Chuck, you're going to have to pull that hair up.
labia deep. We're going to get
Oh, yeah. We're gonna get
ovary
labia
deep. We're
Yeah.
going to get
Hey, Thomas.
what?
Have you heard of this band Punk Rock Factory?
See, again, no, if it's real, no, I haven't.
No, it's a real band.
Okay.
So they're a bunch of old punk rock guys like we are.
Like
right?
a super group?
No,
Oh.
they're not super group at all.
They
I
come out of
believe,
Australia.
They're
Listen,
just
I
old
will say
guys who
this.
started a punk band in their 40s.
I think they're old guys that used to play together in a punk band and then just dusted off the gear and continue to play.
That's what
Anyways,
I'm doing right now. You know that.
hey, listen. That's kind of why. Listen, they sound fucking fantastic, but their main thing is that they fucking cover like cartoons, like Saturday morning cartoons
Oh, I'm in.
and Disney shit, and they sound phenomenal.
Punk Rock
Hit me.
Factory.
Show me.
Okay, hold on. Oh, okay.
I'm Googling
Because
it.
here's one thing. Every song sounds better when it's made a punk rock cover. Me First and the Gimme Gimmes prove that. Like, if you don't know
Yes.
who Me First
Yep.
and the Gimme Gimmes is, that is a punk rock supergroup made up of No Use for a Name, No Effects, a bunch of other punk rock bands. They do nothing but covers.
Take
That's
it
why
back
we need
down
to
where
get
it
you a
was
better
before.
microphone. Yeah.
Yeah, take it back down. When you first started, it was coming in crisp.
I have it. I might be able
Got
to
nothing.
because I have a mic.
I'm gonna have to turn it up.
Marco's
I'm gonna
microphone.
All right, guys.
God damn it.
You want to build a
share?
snowman?
Yeah.
Are they on Spotify?
Do you want to build a snowman? Come on, let's go and play.
There you go.
I never see you anymore. Come at the door. It's like you've gone away. We used to be best buddies, and now we're not. I wish you would tell me why. Do you want to build a snowman? It doesn't
Okay.
have to
I'm going to go with something a little more germane to our generation. You ready?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, but
I'm
we
gonna
have kids now, so if they would drop that in over the Disney shit, I would watch
sick,
Frozen however many fucking times.
That's like
All
no
right.
effects status.
So I'm going to, you
Yeah,
tell
and
me
their-
which one you
their
want to hear and I'll
vocals,
play it.
Their vocals are fucking like the actual harmonizing vocals are on point.
All right, what do you got,
Thunder-
Thomas?
Thundercats,
Thundercats.
Darkwing Duck, Alvin and the Chipmunks,
Oh,
Teenage Mutant
Darkwing
Ninja
Duck.
Turtles,
Play that
Hey,
one.
listen, the Darkwing Duck is good. The Darkwing Duck
or
is good.
He-Man.
Well, Thundercats and He-Man is more our
Okay,
generation.
let's do Thundercats, then we'll do Darkwing Duck.
Okay.
Yeah, I gotta.
All right, here we go.
Closer, closer.
Closer.
Really press it on the tip. Hold on.
Oh, right there. Wherever that was.
Okay, Mighty Morphin Power Ranger.
There you go. Oh,
Thundercats are on the move. Thundercats are loose. Feel the magic, hear the roar. Thundercats are loose. Thunder, 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 thunder.
fucking
feel like this is
amazing.
more metal than punk.
Well, they have that no effects vibe for sure. Like big time no
They have an
effects
Avenged
vibes.
Sevenfold vibe. But then again, Avenged Sevenfold does have a slightly no effects vibe.
Does have a,
Anyway.
yeah. Anyways,
Well,
check them out. Right across
I
from
will
randomly.
definitely check them out.
Actually, there's no random about it. You guys know I'm all about the Disney. So
Oh,
they came up and I was
fuck
like,
yeah.
oh my god, they're fucking fantastic. So
Oh, I'm playing this the next time my daughter wants to hear some Elsa shit.
Whoa, 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 whoa!
whoa!
you're blowing that mic out. What's
Oh.
happening?
All we heard was,
Is this better?
Chuck went
I don't know what
no,
happened.
It's terrible.
Oh,
you
God.
hit the volume on it.
No, I
This,
didn't touch it.
this is the best episode
better?
we've ever done, ladies and gentlemen.
Is it better?
you can tell we've been doing this.
the
We've been doing this a
derailment.
while.
Oh
We've been
my
doing this a while.
God, what the
We are
fuck?
dialed the
This
fuck in.
Okay,
Is it
so
better? Yeah.
let's
Yeah, it's
let's
better.
try to
It's
get this
better.
back on track. Before we get into Matt's giant black hooker story,
I'm sorry.
I got video.
It's busting.
I want to tell you guys that what we're going to talk about tonight. It's been all over the news. We got things
The
to
black
say.
hooker.
No, not that.
Oh.
We have some actual, like, we're going to get into some shit and real talk. Like, you're in the locker room, you know, you've come here for dark humor and like no safeties, like pull the pin and let it fly. That's what we're here for. But we're going to talk about fucking school shootings and we're going to talk about transgenderism in the same conversation.
Who would have thought?
I mean, I would have, but I guess I want to give people that opportunity. Hey, if this isn't for you, like, there are lines we don't cross in the show and we will not cross them tonight, right? This is if we're going to talk about something that's really fucked up for these kids.
Yeah.
However, we're going to be real with you. And if that's not for you, then just skip to the next episode whenever that comes out. Cause the only way you can make it through some of these subjects is to fucking have real tombstone gallows humor. Because if you didn't, this job, police work, firefighting, the military, it would eat you alive. So if you're not here for it, if you're not down for it, if you're a casual listener who has never served and you're like, sometimes this shit gets too dark, this could be one of those. I don't know. We don't know where it's going to go. We're just giving you that heads up front. This is like that. I don't give trigger warnings, but I am telling you shit's going to go down tonight. And now, without further ado, Matt's giant black hooker.
So I got back into running on Monday, 2 weeks
I
after.
know nothing about it other than it
Okay.
involves a giant black hooker. Just,
2 weeks after my latest car incident, I decided to get back into running.
you mean after you got
Like all
hit?
the way back in,
Yeah.
or just like a little bit back in?
Well, you know me, I'm freaking all gas or all brakes. There's really no,
Really no in between.
so
Hey,
so
you could just go to an arcade and play Frogger.
I could. So Monday, after 2 weeks of not running or working out fucking at all, I decided I'm just going to fucking hit it. So I did a little 7-mile jaunt.
Right.
And that was
just a little.
Yeah. So Monday morning, I'm like, 7 miles. Here we go. I was
wow.
going slow. I was doing like a 9.5 minute mile. So I wasn't like fucking, breaking records or nothing. So, so this morning, and I fired up the GoPro. I put that on. I'm recording everything. I'm like, God forbid this fucking happens again or something happens again. I want some fucking footage that you can play at my funeral. So
You need to start carrying like one of those ID bracelets that says what to do if I'm run over by a vehicle.
So nothing happened yesterday, and this morning, cruising along northbound on Western between frickin' 3rd Street and Beverly, where all the hookers hang out. And I'm like narrating my run, and I'm like, all right, let's see what's at corner number 1. And there was nothing, struck out. I'm like, all right, nothing. Let's see what's at corner number 2.
All right, what time is this?
This is like 4:15, 4:30, somewhere around there.
Almost checkout time for
Prime
hooker. Got it.
ladies.
Yeah.
Prime ladies of the
Yeah.
night.
Yeah, exactly.
Mhm.
Yeah, I want to say it's like in between 4:15 and 4:30.
Gotcha.
So at hooker corner number 2, there was just one. And I'm like, oh, there's just one on this corner. And I realized I probably said that a little louder because I got headphones in and everything, because she like looked and I'm like, oh, okay. And then I'm getting up to the 3rd corner and I see from across the street walking towards me on the sidewalk, like back away from the corner. And I'll send you guys a video. I just got to download it off the fucking GoPro. And I'm just like, oh my God, here we go. The holy fucking grail. So as I'm cruising along, walking towards me is this, I mean, look, she wasn't really 8 feet tall, but she might as well have been the tallest black fucking hooker I've ever seen in my life. And I've seen a few. She was like,
true story.
I mean, she was at least 6'5", 6'6". Not even exaggerating.
Fuck,
yeah,
dude.
at least. And she's just freaking dark as night, right? That kind of black, like black, right. Wearing these fucking pristine white, fake fucking vinyl leather fucking go-go boots, heels that go up above her knee. She has like a blonde wig on, clearly a fucking blonde wig. Cause I'm like, yeah, girl, you weren't born like that. Little tiny mini skirt that's like in warm pastel tones of like, oranges and reds and just kind of not tie-dyed, but kind of swirled. Little tiny thing that she's just every 2 steps, she's tugging down, every 2 steps tugging down, and a little freaking strip of cloth above her or his breasts. Cause she looked a little masculine. And I just started laughing. I couldn't help myself. I'm fucking laughing almost uncontrollably. And she's just looking at me and I'm just fucking laughing as I run by. And it was fucking glorious. And I will download that footage off the old, GoPro.
Let's do it.
And, send that, probably even post it. Why the hell not? But yeah.
Like something out of an Austin Powers movie.
It was amazing. Fucking amazing. Like if I wasn't like on a mission to do a certain thing by a certain time, I would have loved to just had a conversation. Like that type of like intriguing.
Is it like the Louis C.K. bit where he's like,
in
when
10
a guy
minutes
told me to
chat.
suck a bag of dicks, and I was like, wait, I have questions.
Yeah.
Oh God. Well,
yeah, big black.
We thought we would get the lighthearted stuff out of the way first, and now, for those of you that have been living under a fucking rock or don't have the internet, on the 27th, a school shooter walked in mildly armed. I won't say heavily armed because I saw her kit and it wasn't that. I mean, it wasn't shit.
Yeah, I was gonna say, was it mildly?
Yeah. Very mildly armed. I mean,
it was heavy for unprotected kids.
It was heavy for a school.
Yeah, for a school. Yeah.
And
did you see the video of her entrance? How she shot her way into the school? Did you see that?
No.
Yeah.
No.
Just,
pulled up in her fucking minivan.
Honda Fit.
Oh yeah, Honda Fit.
Honda Fit. The fucking. Whew. Anyway, so school shooter goes to a Christian school in Nashville
that she formerly attended.
She used to attend.
Yes.
And kills 3 students and 3 teachers, and then wounds several others.
Correct.
How sinister is this, Tom? She went there because the pastor, she wanted to kill. She had a vendetta against him, and she wanted to kill his only child,
which she did.
She accomplished.
Which she did.
Right? She did.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
Right. So let's get the elephant in the room out of the way. Okay. Everybody on social media is talking about the gender of this shooter because it's rare for females to commit school shootings. Now, it's not unheard of. There is a very famous case we'll get into of a female school shooter whose answer for why she did it was chilling, bone chilling. And she was like proto school shooter in the 70s, bro. She just laid in wait outside of a school and picked off kids like a sniper.
Damn.
Yeah, we'll get into that.
Damn.
But, yeah. So this gal, I won't even say her name.
Yeah.
She shows up and shoots up the school, but she, according to the trans community and according to LinkedIn, I guess, 28 years old, identifies now as he, him, and goes by a male name.
Right.
Well, was were.
That's now. Now her pronouns are was were.
Yeah, that meme has caught fire real fast.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So
wouldn't her pronouns now be shitbag?
Shit and bag.
Shit and bag.
Yeah.
Cocksucker.
Yeah. No.
Well,
fucking,
yeah, I guess.
I guess it could go either way, depending on which way she's is she
Which
a
way
gay
her-
man now, or is she straight woman?
Well,
I don't
there's gender identity, then there's sexual preference,
know.
and sometimes those two don't
I
line
don't
up.
think you're supposed to say preference.
Right.
You're not supposed to be able to control it. It's not a preference, right?
Sexual orientation.
Yes.
It's
right.
fluid.
There it is.
Orientation.
Orientation. Sexual orientation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My sexual orientation faces north. That's all.
It's fluid like the training in that car.
Oh my god!
You can't call it tranny fluid anymore. You have to call it gender neutral
non-conforming fluid. Gender non-conforming fluid. My car is low on gender non-conforming fluid, Jiffy Lube. Can you please?
Are we still allowed to call those tools dikes, or are we not allowed to do that?
You know, I actually was going to ask I was replacing a battery cable on my wife, and I was going to yell out, "Hey, I need a pair of dikes to cut this, to cut this up." And I was like, "Hey, babe, I need a pair of dikes." I'll go get it myself. Never mind.
I need a pair of dikes. Well, who do you want me to call?
Do you want me to call Terry and Tommy? Do you want me to call Carol and Tiffany? Who do you want me to call?
Who do you want me to call? And why do you need two of them?
Oh my god! Wait, okay, I'm giving a little inside baseball. So we had
So they can scissor.
group
Oh,
of
shit.
female police officers in our county that were tied in together. They all hung out together, right? And the thing we used to say was these women hang out together and they all talk shit about the men and which officers they don't like, and then you have no chance, right? Like, because once the lesbian officers from all these different departments team up against you, it doesn't matter what department you go to, you're fucked, right?
Yeah, you're done.
And one of us went, so it's like a lesbian terrorist organization. It's like Lesbola.
Lesbola. Oh my god, I was thinking that before you even said it. Lesbola. Jesus Christ.
Let's be honest, okay?
So the school shooter went in there, targeted the pastor's only kid, successfully murdered 3 children, including the pastor's kid, and then 3 adults, one of whom was a teacher. She's on the phone with her husband. Husband couldn't get into school. Like, all the terrible stuff you hear about most of these school shootings.
Yeah.
Nashville PD shows up and just literally
fucking rock.
does such a bitchin' job.
Yeah. What was the time from call to target down? I believe was 12 or 14 minutes total.
Something like that.
Something like that, right around there, right in that wheelhouse somewhere.
It was a stellar job. It was straight to the point. You know, everything about when you're doing active shooters types of situations, MAC-TAC drills. You do without, when you don't hear any of the shots being heard, you do a search, like a slow, methodical search. You know, that's going to be kind of sped up. Hold on.
Right.
Is that better?
No, I think Marco was signaling for a timeout. Okay.
I'm gonna kill this motherfucker.
Marco, you good?
So for those of you who wondered why we stopped, Marco got up and now he's gone quiet.
He's fucking hunting.
And then we said, while we were,
what?
Oh my god, we're about to hear gunshots. We're legit about to hear gunshots.
Remember, slow and steady pull.
Oh.
Oh, it's an airsoft gun.
Oh.
We're a bunch of assholes. I heard tick, tick.
He ain't gonna kill a fucking possum with the airsoft gun. And why is he whispering like that if he's got earphones in?
Phone's
He
I don't have my
down.
fucking earphones in.
Oh, sorry.
Slap.
Was it airsoft?
Not the first one, because I wasn't sure what it was.
Oh,
And you guys saw me come back on camera, and then I switched.
yeah. The first one didn't look airsoft. Then the second one.
No, the
you
first.
came
That's
out
why I
with-
was like, "Oh fuck,
Mm.
someone's fucking breaking into his house, and he about to handle some business."
Yeah, we thought we had to call an airstrike.
I was about to call 911 and get on the phone with Austin PD.
And if somebody was gonna, I will tell you guys. I'll tell you guys break in. You guys would hit me racking and break in and call them. Call 911.
So there's a
Yeah,
fucking
we need to have
possum.
we need to have like a podcast like code word where it's like, hey, shit's going down. Call an airstrike. I'm going to handle business. Anyway,
So what I was saying before, are we recording again?
Yeah.
We've been recording.
Sorry about that.
My bad. So they handled everything good. Like when you have MACTAC drills, active shooters, they do a methodical search because they don't know where the suspect's at because they don't hear anything. So they start clearing rooms, and they do it not crazy fast, but with some precedence. Like they're going not faster than what they can, but a good pace. So they're going, and then as soon as they hear fucking gunshots, that's when you see them just step it up and then just fucking run, which is exactly what you're supposed to do in an active shooter situation.
right.
And you go towards the gunshots, you bypass everything else, and you go towards where the gunshots are being heard.
Yeah.
You
So let's
put
talk about
down
that a
and
little bit
neutralize the
to
suspect.
educate some of the listeners who don't know, because maybe we have some listeners that don't understand. Maybe I'm sure there's military people that have never had active shooter training.
Oh yeah, I mean, for those of us that were in the Navy or
Right.
were not in a service where you handled firearms and were trained that way.
So you respond to an active shooter incident, and basically it went through a cycle. Charles Whitman, right, climbed the tower in Texas. Got
Yep.
a bunch of co-eds. 2 cops showed up and were like, "Fuck this dude." They climbed the
That was
tower.
here.
They took care of it. Exactly. That was in Margot's hood. That was in the 60s. They climbed the tower and took care of it because he was actively killing people. Then, flash forward to the late 60s, LAPD gets in a couple of shootouts, really. the 2 big ones are the Black Panther and the SLA shootouts. And they developed this idea that we need a special team that has greater firepower than just fucking 38 special wheel guns. And they were right. And SWAT is developed. Over the course of the 70s and 80s and into the 90s, the training changes from street cops should handle it to surround, contain, call SWAT. SWAT comes in, boom, handles it. Flash forward to Columbine, and the police officers who were responding, right, wrong, or indifferent, did what they were trained to do: surround, contain, and call SWAT. And in the meantime, kids died inside Columbine High School and teachers bled out. And my dad and I talked about this at the time. Rightfully so. Parents were pissed. They said, that's not what we expect you guys to do. We expect you guys to go in and aggress the threat. So
Right.
Full circle, we took it back to Charles Whitman, and law enforcement said, now the doctrine is the first people on scene, form a team, make entry, aggress the threat. And they aggress the threat as fast as they can safely move. And it works like this. If it's a static, like you enter, you hear nothing, you move forward, you clear, you move forward, you clear, you move forward, you clear, just like you would in a rapid, entry where you're clearing a house, clearing a drug lab, clearing, if SWAT's clearing something and they're going at a rapid pace, but they're doing it safely. The second you start to hear gunshots, the second you start to hear violence, you run towards that sound. You step over victims, you step over bodies, you step over everything you can, and you make it to the sound of gunfire as fast as you humanly can, and you put rounds on the threat. Period. End of story.
Right.
And that is what these guys did.
Yeah, textbook.
And
It was fucking, from what you just described, that was fucking
Right.
textbook what they fucking
And
did.
just to mention real quick, what people are like, well, you don't address the victims. No, we do. LAPD set the standard on this a while back. for active shooter scenarios, when you step over a victim, say there's someone down, you have teams outside ready to go. And you have a couple different sets of teams. You have, officer down team and you have, first aid teams, and you call out, hey, we have an active shooter. We're here in the rounds. We're going towards it. Hey, there's a victim here in this hallway. And you call out where the victims are and you step over them to aggress the threat. And so you're calling that out. Another team will enter.
Yeah. Secondary and tertiary teams can enter to try and effect rescues, but their job is not to aggress the threat. They're just a rescue.
You know
team.
what? From my training and experience and going through these MACTAC drills all the way here in Southern California, where we set the standard, watching those officers in Tennessee clear across the United States on the Eastern Seaboard, when they were clearing that room, 3 to search, 2 to enter. And the reason that is you have 2 to enter and you have the third officer standing at that fucking doorway, guarding that room and also keeping eyes down the hall so that no one, like, if all 3 were to go in, then you would have no more eyes and the suspect could just hop across the hallway and you'd have no fucking idea or get behind you. And
now, if
so
only I
that
could get
was
Chuck to do that when we play Call of Duty.
Damn!
Dick.
Damn!
I'm down, rescue me. And I got shot rescuing this guy. Besides the point, I thought that was fucking phenomenal when they went in, they searched the room. All right, we're good. Let's go. And you come back out, they pan out, and the body worn shows the other officer halfway in the doorway. The other half is down range, down the hallway that's not yet been cleared. And I was like, holy fucking shit. This shit has really made it across the Eastern Seaboard. And I love seeing officers exercise damn near perfect active shooter searching. That was fucking perfect.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that was something they should play on repeat for those fucking cocksuckers in Texas.
And Uvalde?
Yeah.
And that therein lies, when you go back and you can listen to our episode on Uvalde, and Chuck and I were pretty disgusted by it. The difference between the two responses is clearly visible and is night and day. Right?
Yeah.
There were hard chargers in Nashville who said, shit's going down. We need to get ahead of it. And they went. Yeah. And when it was quiet and when they needed to slow down and listen and be aware of their surroundings and gain intel and check doors, they were doing that. And as soon as the shots were being fired, they moved, and they moved with a quickness, and they moved with a purpose, and they moved like the tip of the fucking spear that they were. And then when they got to that shooter didn't stand a fucking chance. The first officer came around with a patrol rifle, sliced a pie, put rounds on target. Second shooter came around with a pistol. Suspect started to raise a weapon. Boom. Done.
Fucking Dunsky, bro.
It was more like boom, 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 boom.
Right. Changed her pronouns to was, were in seconds.
Yeah.
100%.
Now,
so you're saying that basically the cops in Tennessee did not stand by and wait for ballistic shields and
they just
more units and
you saw those guys. They were in blue jeans and tack vests.
Yeah.
Pretty fucking bare bone.
Yeah.
So I gotta ask you guys something. Being like the civilian, if you will, in the group, right? So if you're average Joe, right? If you're a dad visiting your kid or going in for a parent teacher meeting, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you're hearing how I was going to use some fucked up pronouns, but how they entered, because they came in, obviously, as we know, guns blazing. They came in shooting. They shot. I think Matt, I don't think you said that you didn't see the video. Like,
no, I did see the video.
The shooter
when she shot through the doors.
She shot through the doors. She shot through the doors. She came in shooting. So obviously, and then you see as she's coming in and starting to clear the front lobby entrance area. You're seeing alarm. There was an alarm that was going off because you see the flashes, right?
Yeah. I got a story behind that.
The lockdown alarm.
No, it was a fire alarm. A little girl heard the shots, pulled the fire alarm, and she was, I think, the first person that got shot because she didn't get out of the hallway.
Some schools, it's the same light.
Oh my God.
So I'm not.
But I'm
sure
just saying that's what they're saying is this little girl heard the shots and went, oh shit, and pulled the fire alarm to warn everybody else.
Yeah.
And she got gunned down.
Well,
So what would be your advice if you're like,
okay. So there's a lot of variables there. First question is there an actual school resource officer on campus?
it doesn't matter. You're a parent and you just hear gunshots. You don't know. You don't know.
So,
you don't know. You know what I'm saying? Like,
okay.
I'm pulling out my piece.
So here's the thing.
Oh yeah, but not everybody's going to be carrying.
If you're
and
carrying,
especially when it's a felony, it's an automatic felony in some states to carry a piece in school property.
You know what?
So,
I probably still would, because I'd rather be alive to defend myself.
For sure.
You know.
So
Then
I will tell you this: the big concern for me has always been, and this is when we get into the discussion of teachers, right?
Yeah.
Having guns.
Yeah.
Same thing.
Sure.
Parents, teachers, whoever. If you're the responding officer, if you're the officer on scene, and you see somebody running down the hallway with a gun,
Mm-hmm.
and you're in an active shooter situation, you're going to smoke them. Period.
Probably. Yeah.
You're not going to wait to see if they're a parent. You're not going to wait to see if they're a teacher. You're going to smoke them.
Yeah.
So if you are willing to accept the risk that you're conceivably and possibly going to get smoked by the responding officers if they see you before they see the shooter, and you think, okay, I can get to the shooter first and I can put rounds down range and stop the threat, and then I can put my gun down or I can holster and put my hands up before I can get smoked by the responding officers, you do you. Right? It's a game time decision. Like, oh, hey, are we putting in Johnson today as the quarterback? Well, we're going to see at game time how his arm's feeling. Right? Like, you're going to have to make that call on the field.
That happened out here in Saugus. So Saugus, you guys all hear about the Saugus shooter?
oh yeah.
Yeah, it was a while ago. Yeah. Uh-huh.
Right. So
About
officers
4
on
years
scene,
ago.
LAPD,
5 years ago.
and some off-duty deputies. They're all off-duty. We're dropping their children off at school. They hear the gunshots ring out. They dismount their vehicles,
Mhm.
armed,
Yep.
and rush in to try to find the shooter. They don't get shot or anything, but they probably identify themselves. I knew one of the guys who ran in who was armed, and the guy had subsequently taken his life after he killed someone. So they ran in and went to go handle fucking business without thinking of it. But they are willing to accept the risk of, if I get mistaken
Mhm.
as a shooter, I'm
Mhm.
going to take that. I've thought about it.
Yep.
I've been like, okay, I know that area I live in is controlled by deputies. I know that there have been scenarios, because I know deputies who have actually done like FOSTROs, which is like virtual reality type of thing with an air gun, and they've been put in those types of situations, and they have killed the undercover or the off-duty officer because they didn't know. So that's an inherent risk that I know about, and I've thought, if I can get to that person, like say Marco's scenario, I'm in a school with my kid and we're doing a parent-teacher conference. I know that there are no school resource officers at that school. I know that there are generally no officers staged outside of that school. They may patrol in the area, but they're not there. I am physically there at that moment. If I hear it ring out, I'm going to tell my kids, I'm going to walk into the front of school, get the fuck out. And then I'm going to enter. I'm going to go back in as I'm calling 911, identifying myself to get it out there and staying on the air, constantly giving out my description, where I'm going, where the gunshots are, and doing it like that. I would say if you are off duty, regardless if you're a cop or you're just some random Joe Schmo, you may have a CCW, you may not. You're just a Second Amendment American, and you have no qualms and quarrels about that. You're going to carry regardless. I would say if you're in that position, call 911, get on with the dispatcher, say that there's an active shooter at the school, identify yourself, constantly
This is
be
what I
giving
look
out
like.
the description.
Right.
Exactly. Constantly give out the description of what you are wearing. And I've done this before. Constantly give out the description of what you are wearing and stay on the phone with dispatch. I did that clearing a house or holding a house in my neighborhood that went off in the alarm. And it was the burglary alarm for one of my neighbors. And I knew that was not normal and their door was ajar. So I called 911. I rushed over there with my duty weapon. I did not have my badge on me. The only thing I had is my ID, but you can't fucking see that because it's in my wallet. I was on the phone with dispatch. I gave out my
badge is
description
better.
numerous fucking times. And I was fucking on target the whole time. As soon as deputies got there, and I was like, "Hey, I see him rolling up. Please let them know I'm in fucking, a white shirt, black shorts, and flip flops, and I'm bald." And
now, as a parent,
like,
if
I was
you're
giving out
in
everything,
yeah, and if you're in the room with your kid and the teacher and a classroom full of kids for some reason, let's say it's fucking
just
show and tell or career day, and you're in the classroom, and that shit starts to go. There's also the idea that you hold ground and you defend that classroom.
Yeah.
So again, there's all these different things that you are going to have to take into account. And at the end of the day, it's a game day decision. It's a game time decision. How well are you trained? How well can you shoot? How well are you mentally prepared for this? How well are your tactics? What size caliber are you hearing? Are you hearing the pop, pop, pop of a pistol? Or are you hearing the boom, boom, boom of a 223? Right. And if you're armed with a, 6-shot or a 5-shot 38 special 2-inch, are you going to go hunting? Probably not. Not against 223. You're going to wait and see if you can come up with unless you're superiorly trained, so those are all, I think, again, this is the debate about what's the best caliber to carry. Well, what's the mission, right? What are you intending to do? So I think the shitty, but I'm saying for Marco, the shitty part of that answer is there is no answer. It is literally comes down to you as a parent, with an armed parent, weighing the variables in the moment, deciding what the acceptable risk is, and then making your move. Does that make sense? I mean,
there are ways to enhance survival, for sure.
Yeah, but does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it does.
I know there's a lot. You guys answer, but
no, it's no. I didn't expect there to be an easy answer. There's a lot of variables, but I think it's like I hope that none of us have been listening. None of us, and no one that's listening ever gets tested in that scenario.
Right.
But it's
a good question to ask, because you're probably right. As the civilian, there's probably a lot of other people asking that question.
Yeah, like what can I do, or what should I do, especially when you don't have like you and Chuck, that designated trainee, and drilling over scenarios to build up and create that muscle memory, that takes over and you act instead of react. For the average person, they don't have that, so. That's why
you take Matt, for example. Matt's got a not yet 1-year-old child. You have yet to see that child go into school, right? And I have no doubt whatsoever in my mind that if you were dropping your child off at school or picking your child up at school, or you were at a parent, any one of those scenarios, and you heard shots fired, you would go in with a stapler if that's all you had.
Yeah.
Because I know you. And you're like, if I take rounds, I take rounds. I'm going to fucking staple this motherfucker to death if that's what it takes. Marco, I know you. Your kids are everything. Like, you're going to make that decision based on where you're at. Like, if you're with your kids and you have the chance to be Papa Bear and protect them, you're going to protect them. Right? Like,
yeah, I think I would try to make my way to my I know where my son's room is, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
It's like
make your way to his room.
Make my way to his room and
make an arm stand down. Right.
And just lock it down. You guys go into the bathroom. I love you. Dad's going to be out here.
Yeah.
So Marco, I operate off of these strict things when I have my kids with me. If I can get them to safety and I can make sure that they're out of harm's way and they're out of like fire, then I can act. My first job as a parent is protect them and get them to safety. If I can get other people to safety at the same time, I will. Then once I know they are in safety, if I can make safe entry in, I'm going to do it. Right. If I have no training or experience and I can shoot, I'm probably going to hunker down in the fucking room, lock the fucking door or do whatever and make sure that they're safe. Hop on the phone with 911, give them my description, tell them I'm armed and I'm guarding this door, and I give them the room number that I'm in. At that point, if there's a lull or something, or there's a window, maybe we can, I keep the fucking at the door, the gun on the door. We can get the window open and we can make exfil and we can get out of that window. Then we get them out of the window and then I hop out the window and I guard them all the way to the street. And then if cops are there, great. If not, hey, daddy will be right back. Now I'm going to go back in. Right. So there are certain things that you can do.
See, and I may not go back in. I got my kids out. I may post up. It depends on the situation, how big the campus is, where the gunfire's coming from. Are there cops on scene? Like, you don't know what you're going to do until the moment happens. So you can what if it to death, but what if grasshoppers had machine guns, baby? Make the game time decision and do what's right.
What caliber would that be?
Grasshoppers have machine guns?
Yeah, what caliber machine gun?
Would be
.22223.
0.22223. So I'll tell you a couple of stories real quick. So when I did training for the state of California, we did a scenario. Cops would have to respond. And in the scenario we were using simunitions. If you guys don't know what simunitions are, it's like paintballs, but they're little pellets of paint instead of balls. They're pellets that are fired out of an actual brass casing projectile with gunpowder.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. They're like fucking wax. They're like little wax bullets.
Yeah, they suck.
They fucking hurt.
Suck so fucking bad.
Suck so bad.
They pierce.
Yeah, they can pierce your skin. Like, they're no joke. But pain compliance and pain penalties are a good training aid. So that being said, we did a scenario, and in the scenario, I had to be an undercover officer. And I would have my badge in my left hand and my gun in my right hand, right? And I would be gunning a suspect on the ground who had just robbed a liquor store, robbed a restaurant, whatever he'd robbed. And the police officers, the trainees that were going through this advanced training, these are not rookies. These are cops with 5, 10, 15, 20 years of experience going through advanced training. They were told, you're responding to a call of shots fired. Well, the suspect on the ground had a gun. Suspect on the ground had a gun, and that gun was right by his hand, but I had proned him out. And now I'm there, and I've got him proned out, and I'm giving him verbal commands. Put your hands behind your back. Let me see your hands. I'm giving him police officer style verbal commands to see if they pick up on it when they show up, to see if they hear them. And I have my badge. And when they arrive, I'm going to show them my badge when they ask. I'm going to tell you right now, at least 70% of the time, I got smoked before they ever saw my badge.
They get tunnel vision, right? They just come in, guy with a gun.
And then, let me see your hands. And I would turn just with my badge. Boom.
Pop, pop, pop.
Pop, pop,
wow.
pop. And then I would, in scenario, fall to the ground. My hands would go on my sides, and they'd see one hand face up with a badge and one hand face up with a gun. And I can tell you, literally so many times I heard guys go, fuck, it was a cop. Fuck. And they, like, you hear them in the scenario, their tunnel vision breaks, and they see they just smoked a cop, and they realize they would have done it in real life.
Yeah.
Right. And
that's why they're doing the advanced training.
Right. That's exactly why you do the advanced training.
And see, now the guy on the ground that was proned out with the gun within reach, he should have been scripted to fucking pop them with some ammunition rounds right after that.
Well, we had those scenarios here. So there's that. There's also 2 incidents that my dad told me personally, and these had a huge impact on me growing up. Because my dad used to tell me as a kid, none of Chuck did, but Matt and Marco, you guys didn't grow up with fathers in law enforcement. So
no.
I don't know if Chuck's dad said the same thing, but my dad would be like, I would see, I joke around with my kid walking out, or like my kid and now my kid's kid are going to see their parents walking out and like automatically adjusting their waistband as they get out of the car every time they get out of the car, because that's what my dad did. That's what I did in front of my kids. You're always carrying a gun. Right. And my dad used to tell me, he said, okay, so if something ever happens, right, 2 things. Number 1, I'm going to fake a heart attack. So if things go bad and I start to like grab my chest, or you start to see that I'm having a medical emergency or think something's wrong with me, just get away from me. Shut your mouth and get away from me. Somebody else will deal with it. That is your cue to get away from me, because I'm about to do something.
Yeah.
And that was the cue that they would get the bad guy distracted, medical aid, blah, 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 blah. The guy's like, well, I'll call 911, or what am I going to do? Or da, 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 da. And then my dad would draw and pull. That was it. But he arranged that ahead of time with us as kids. And I don't know any other kids other than law enforcement kids that would be raised with a dad who says, listen, if the shit goes down, here's the go sign. Get the fuck away from me. Right. And the reason he told me that was 2 stories that he told me as a kid. And these stories left a huge impression. Guy gets done with dinner with his wife on their way home, had a nice evening, date night, decide to stop by a Stop and Rob to get a bottle of wine so they could have a little bit of drinks on their way home when they get home. Doesn't see the 211, the robbery in progress as they get out of the car. Get in the liquor store. 211 starts, robbery starts. Guy decides to take action. Understandable. He's a cop. He wants to stop this robbery. His wife is killed in the crossfire.
Oof.
Fuck.
Another incident. Guy's at the liquor store or grocery store. I'm sorry. Liquor store is a wife. Grocery store. He's at the grocery store with his kid, his daughter. Robbery at the grocery store. He tells his daughter, you stay here at the car and you hide behind the car and you don't come out until I tell you. And then he leaves his child to go stop the robbery at the grocery store. As soon as the gunfire starts, the child gets scared and goes running straight for her father and is killed in the crossfire.
Fuck.
So these are stories that I grew up with in the back of my mind to ask myself, what have I done and what will I do and who is with me and what is my backdrop and what is my scenario? And is it worth it to stop this fucking 7-Eleven from being robbed at the cost of my wife? Or is it worth the payroll at this grocery store for the life of my daughter? No, maybe not. But is it worth every fucking kid at that school? Maybe.
Yeah.
So growing up, I heard some similar stories. And then when I got into the academy, I heard the one about the daughter. And she got hiding.
Are they telling the academy now?
Yeah.
That was a friend of my dad's.
The guy who goes to the store and then he gets out to stop the 211 and the girl ends up getting scared. She gets out and she gets popped by crossfire. When she's hiding behind a fucking tire, she gets fucking nailed. She was scared. She got out. She was scared.
She ran from cover.
So I heard that in the academy. Yeah. I heard of other things growing up. And then there was a few times when I was growing up, you know, my dad had to do big money drops for my stepmom. And he's like, hey, I'm going to go do this money drop. If you see someone come up behind me that's fucking weird and I give you the signal, you're going to be in the driver's seat, pop the clutch, run them the fuck over, grab the gun and shoot them through the window.
Wait.
That's what I grew up with.
Why are you doing money drops?
My stepmom was the general manager. She was
it just sounds sketchy as fuck. You're like, I was doing money drops.
It was very sketchy. It was on the east side of fucking Palmdale in the ghetto, like bad. Like Bank of America on the east side of the ghetto, like very bad gang neighborhood. And I don't know why he chose there, but that's what the Denny's used. And we would have to go and do the drop. And she didn't feel comfortable doing it in the middle of the night after a shift. So my dad and I would go do it. And so I grew up with that whole mentality, you know, and, you know, there's certain code words like, hey, I'm going to do this, you know, and then I raised my kids that way. Hey, if I ever tell you to get the fuck down or get out, don't fucking question me. Just do it.
Right.
And I've reiterated that so many times. And when I got with my now wife and I told her shit like that, she looked at me like I was fucking crazy. And I said, look, and now she's like, okay, if I ever tell you shit's about to go sideways or I go into somewhere and I'm like, hey, I'm not armed right now. Let's get in and get out quick. Like I'm not armed. I don't feel comfortable. We have the kids. Let's just get in and get out. Every once in a while I go places not armed because I forget my strap and I'm too far from the house when I remember. So I'm like, hey, I don't have my guns in case anything happens. I don't have it, but I do have a knife. I'm only going to use it for self-defense, getting you guys out, and then we're going to fucking pounce. So there are certain things you have to weigh when you have these things. I've seen a fucking robbery happen right in front of me, but I had my son in the car and I weighed those options. Should I get out right now and go engage?
Yeah.
I'm fucking right there. And I was like, I look over at my son and I was like, I remembered that story of the little girl getting shot and it fucking just resonated. And I was like, we're going to sit back and we're going to watch.
Right. Be a good witness. I can be a good witness.
Exactly. I can be a good witness. And then I came in and I said, hey, do you want me to call the police? I witnessed everything. I can call the deputies. They're like, nah, I don't give a fuck.
Now, if somebody was about to get smoked,
whatever.
shit would have changed, but that's not what happened. So
No.
we're moving
Get in
on
the back
to
seat, lay down.
before we finish, because this is the last part that we want to get to, and I've got it queued up, Matt. I don't know if you want to read it or if you want me to read it.
If you got it queued up, fucking fire away.
Okay. This
Are you talking about the tweet thing that I sent you? Yeah. Go ahead and.
Okay. So for immediate release, media statement on March 27, 2023.
Wait, what's this from?
I'm getting there.
Okay.
For immediate release, media statement on March 27, 2023, school shooting in Nashville, Tennessee from, and I'm guessing that right at this moment, they really regret the name they chose.
Yeah.
The statement is from the Trans Resistance Network. Yeah. The Trans Resistance Network has been notified the shooter involved in today's church school shooting in Nashville, Tennessee was a person identifying as transgender, known from online profiles as, we're not fucking saying, but the pronouns are he, him. While it is not our policy to engage publicly with news media, we believe this moment calls for a thoughtful response from our collective. First of all, if you're a resistance network and a collective, you're already on my shit list.
You should be on a watch list. Every fucking person should be on that, should be on a watch list.
Yep. Yeah. Thoughtful response from our collective. We point out that today's incident in Nashville, Tennessee is not one tragedy, but two. Let's just hold comment till we get to the end. You know what? That's a better
Okay.
idea.
Yeah.
We point out that today's incident in Nashville, Tennessee is not one tragedy, but two. The first tragedy today is the loss of life of 3 children and adults. We extend our deepest sympathies and heartfelt prayers to those families dealing with the loss of loved ones. There is nothing we can offer that will comfort the hurt or ease the sorrow. We will mourn with you. The second and more complex tragedy is that is that this fucker who shall not be named, who felt he, their words, had no other effective way to be seen than to lash out by taking the life of others, and by consequence, their words, himself. We do not claim to know the individual or have access to their inner thoughts and feelings. We do know that life for transgender people is very difficult and made more difficult in the preceding months by a virtual avalanche of anti-trans legislation and public call-outs by right-wing capitalized personalities and political figures for nothing less than the genocidal eradication of trans people from society. Many transgender people deal with anxiety, depression, thoughts of suicide, and PTSD from the near constant drumbeat of anti-trans hate, lack of acceptance from family members and certain religious institutions, denial of our existence, and calls for detransition and forced conversion. All of these factors contribute to a population that is medically underserved and who often face anti-trans bias while accessing care, leading to significant physical and mental health disparities. Hate has consequences. It is a testament to the inner strength and beauty of transgender people that despite the overwhelming odds of homelessness, job discrimination, and constant anti-trans bigotry and violence, so many of us continue to persevere, survive, and even thrive. We will not be eradicated or erased. We remind the news media to respect the self-identified pronouns of transgender individuals who come across your desk. This fuckface, my words, self-identified with he, him pronouns on forward-facing sites. We also urge you to avoid pandering to those individuals on the capital R right who will use this double tragedy to torment I think they mean foment, but it says to torment fear and terror of transgender people in order to advance a political agenda of transgender elimination. Biased and sensationalized coverage of these viewpoints is both irresponsible and reprehensible. Requests for interviews will be referred back to this statement.
First of all, fuck those cunts.
Yeah. I second that.
Hey, get on your soapbox a little bit more, you fucking twats.
or wannabe twats, depending.
Mutilated cocks. I don't know.
Yeah, I've got shit to say, but I'll let you guys. Yeah.
Well, let's start with the obvious. I would say that letter that they released was probably what, a 80-20 skew towards we're going to spend more time talking about the tragedy of misgendering somebody versus the loss of life of 3 fucking 8 to 9-year-old children and 3 adults. And we're going to spend more time talking about it and talking about that. And second of all, there was only one tragedy.
Okay. Yeah. There was one atrocity.
What atrocity? Yes. Atrocity.
The tragedy was that society didn't get this trans person the help that she needed.
She.
Right.
There's plenty of pictures of her standing behind her desk with her female name.
Yep.
And I mean, recently. So you can't dip a toe in both ends of the pool. You got to fucking pick the deep end or the fucking shallow end. Just fucking commit.
Now, what the gist, and see if you guys agree with me or not, but the gist I got from this letter was, while it's sad that children and adults at this Christian school are dead, that's what you get for marginalizing trans people.
That's what I got. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
It's like
shame on us for driving this trans person to the brink of this.
Yeah.
But you know what that just drove home though? Because he said so many trans suffer with mental illnesses. Okay, well, or they said trans suffer with mental illness. I'm like, so you're admitting that most have a mental illness. And they're not.
No. It's not a mental illness. It's society that doesn't accept them as trans, causing them to have these mental illnesses.
Don't blame other fucking people
exactly.
for your fucking actions, you fucking cunts.
Let's talk about a couple of things here. Number one, it is one atrocity. I get really pissed off, and I know, Matt, you and I love language the same way.
Words matter.
Tragedy, right, is something sad that happens through no fault of anyone's, like it's just a tragedy. It's
like if I were
earthquake that swallows up an elementary school is a tragedy.
If I were to drop this not even half drink beer and the bottle broke,
tragedy.
That's fucking tragedy.
Right.
That's tragedy. That's tragic.
An atrocity is caused by a human fucking being.
Yes.
And this fucking bitch picking up 3 weapons and deliberately targeting children and adults at a Christian school.
Writing a manifesto prior to
saying that she was, hey, I get it. You're suicidal. There's lots of people that are out there that are suicidal. Let's get you the help you need, but you have no fucking call. You have no fucking cause, and you have no fucking business visiting your pain on other people. Period. End of fucking story. That is a goddamn atrocity. It is not a goddamn tragedy.
Yeah.
So there is not 2 tragedies. There's one gigantic atrocity. Number 1. Number 2, you want to ask people to respect your pronouns. Here's when I respect people's fucking pronouns. If you come to me and you're like, hey, I had surgery. I'm Caitlyn Jenner. I had my fucking penis cut off and I had breast implants and I'm on these hormones. And now I live my life as a woman. And I would appreciate if you call me Caitlyn and refer to me as she and her. And I go, you know what? You're my friend. I know you in real life. I respect you in real life. I hang out with you in real life. And because I care about you, I'm going to go ahead and do that for you out of respect.
You can't expect other people who
That's
don't
a personal
know you.
Decision.
Right.
The second you fucking kill kids, you lose any fucking call to prefer anything. I don't give a shit from pronouns to fucking ice cream flavors. You don't get to prefer a goddamn thing when you kill kids.
Yeah.
So you can suck my fucking fat one when you're talking about, oh, we should respect preferred pronouns. No. We're not talking about other people. We're talking about this fucking shooter. And this shooter deserves not only their name not to be spoken ever again, but I don't give a fuck about this shooter's pronouns.
And to put that in context, you guys had me on War Stories talking about at the time, like one of my closest friends.
Yes.
I never said his fucking name on the podcast.
Right.
And I even said he was a piece of shit.
Yep.
And this was a guy I was tight with.
And you struggled with that.
Yeah. But like, who the fuck are these people? You're defending a fucking child murderer.
Right.
Because she's in your camp. You should be separating yourself from somebody like this.
Yeah, because it serves your purpose.
Right. You know?
It's just because it serves your narrative.
Yeah.
But it's tramping over and bulldozing past quickly everything else that happened. And that's why Thomas, like the way I said, lost me at the end. And obviously Thomas is like, they lost me in two tragedies. I'm like, I understand where you're coming from. But that's like where like me is like, okay, wow. Like I read it all the way through and I was like, okay, I'm going to give you the benefit of that until the very, nope. Right. Wow. We're just going to bulldoze right over everything that's actually, that matters the most.
Yeah. And it was hypocritical.
We're going to throw shade. Yeah. 100%. We're going to throw shade on everything else that's actually the most important, just so you can bring it all back to your narrative.
So I want to highlight a couple of things. Number one, Chuck, you should understand this as well. I think everybody on this podcast really understands this. The paragraph that says many transgender people deal with anxiety, depression, thoughts of suicide, and PTSD. You just described a fucking veteran.
Hey, fucking men.
You just described a fucking police officer. You just described a fucking firefighter. You just described a nurse in the ER. You just described a lot of fucking people in society who don't go into schools and fucking blow people away and blow children away. I'm sorry. Anxiety, depression, and thoughts of suicide and PTSD are not mutually exclusive to fucking trans people. You don't get to claim those as like, this is why we did it. Go fuck yourself.
You know what? Matt Walsh hit it right on the head. I believe it was Matt Walsh. He said, you can't expect other people to call you he, him, she, her. You can't expect them. They're fucking strangers. They don't know you. You can't expect them to call you that. That's like me wanting you every time you fucking speak about me to say, you're going to call me as handsome and wealthy. Every time you speak about me. Every time you speak about me, must be handsome and wealthy.
But neither are true.
I may not be handsome and wealthy, but you're going to call me fucking handsome and wealthy, right? Just like you may not be a she or a her or a he and a him to other fucking people. You can't expect other people. And if that makes you sad and whatever, you want to go cry, life isn't fucking fair. I'm sorry. I don't know who never taught you this, but life isn't fucking fair. It's all not cupcakes and fucking rainbows. And like Tom said, so many people, other people in other professions have PTSD.
Yeah.
They have anxiety. They have depressions. They've had thoughts of fucking suicide and self-harm. A lot of first responders have had many of those. And a lot of them have taken their own fucking lives, but not one of us has ever thought about going into a fucking school and killing innocent fucking kids. Go fuck yourself. You're a piece of shit. If you've ever thought about that, and you should go fucking handle yourself, because that is fucking bullshit. If you have thoughts about going and killing fucking kids, you're going to fucking hell. You're going to rot in hell, and no one gives a fuck about your pronouns.
Yeah. And honestly, like the biggest line that stuck in my craw out of that whole letter is the 3-word sentence, hate has consequences. Really? Did you just tell us to go fuck ourselves and that we brought this on ourselves because we disagree, because we have different ideas about how things should be handled, because we don't necessarily want to play these fucking political games? We want, like, honestly, my big thing is, look, I totally agree that gender dysphoria is a problem. I don't know if it's as huge as people say. I think there's a lot of it that's a social contagion. I think there's a lot of autogynephilia out there. I think it's a huge mishmash of mess that really is going to take a lot of people smarter than me with a lot of more clinical psychological training to get into it.
Yeah, a lot more initials after your name than we have.
But I can fucking tell you this. When someone in my family who is very close to me started using a male name, she was a female. She is a female.
Is, yeah, I was going to say.
Started using a male name, dressing like a male, wanting to identify as a male, doing all the things, right? You know what I did? I loved her through it, but I spoke to her with truth. I never once said, that's just who you are. I get it. You're fine. Just be that. I said, I love you. I understand you're going through some shit. Whatever you need, I'm here for you. But also recognize that truth is truth. And it may be hard to face. It may be hard to wrap your mind around. But the sooner you can wrap your mind around it, the sooner we can move forward and figure out how to get you well. That's the tragedy of this shit. If there's a tragedy, it's that nobody in society right now is standing up for people who need help. They need somebody to say, I know you're hurting. I know you're sad. I know you've got some serious issues going on, and I'm here for you. But also, I'm going to be truthful with you and tell you this is that it's not going to change the path that you're on. Right? Life handed you a shit sandwich. And you like it or not, this is you got to play the hand you're dealt. That's, in my opinion, the greatest fucking problem we are facing with this shit right now is we are telling people with serious emotional problems, oh, no, you're fine. Just deal with it. You think you're a girl? That's because you're a girl. And, oh, yeah, if you just feel like you're a girl hard enough, guess what? You're going to be a girl. Instead of saying, look, I know it's hard because you were born a boy. Let's figure this out together. And let's find a way for you to move through life and be happy with what, in my opinion, God gave you. So. I don't feel like big joke energy, boys.
No, I think we just kind of leave this as is. Not that we were going to make light of anything about this subject, but this was kind of a heavier locker room, a little more.
We're long on time, and I don't know that there's any jokes that could bring us back from where we're at.
No, and it's not that we're in a bad spot, but I think this is a good spot to sit and reflect and just kind of leave it as is and leave it a little heavy.
Hug your families.
Yeah.
If you see somebody hurting, it doesn't matter what they're hurting from. If they're hurting from PTSD from Afghanistan, if they're hurting from PTSD from feeling like they were born in the wrong body, if they're hurting from not understanding why they're attracted to the same sex, if they're hurting from being betrayed by the priest at their local church, whatever they're hurting from, understand that they're hurting and be there for them.
I have one thing to say.
But do not lie to them.
Right. What's up, Chuck?
I have one thing to say before we end. Haley Scruggs, 9 years old. Evelyn Dickhos, 9 years old. William Kenny, 9 years old. Catherine Kantz, 60. Mike Hill, 61. Cynthia Peak, 61.
Those are the only fucking names you need to worry about around this story. The only names. The only names worth repeating. The only names worth remembering. The only names worth mourning.
That's it.
We'll see you in the locker room.
See you fuckers.
Hug your family.
Yeah!